Hey boys and girls, today we are moving on to lesson 3 in your book. It is, this is from your modules 10 through 20 book, and it is page 379. Today we're going to talk about how to assess the reasonableness of products. We have talked a lot about reasonableness. Meaning, does it make sense? Is this a reasonable answer? In this case, we're talking about, is your product or your answer to a multiplication problem, answer to multiplication, is it reasonable? Does it make sense? It is so important as we are doing work with decimals to make sure our answers are reasonable. It's always important to make sure they're reasonable, but it's especially important with decimals because it's really easy to work a problem out, for example, and your answer looks like this, 172, and you think, is it 172? Is it 17 and 2/10? Is it 1 and 72 hundredths? Look how different all of these values are. So it's real important to think about what your answer, your product should be, and then think, wait a second, it can't be 1 or 17, 172, you know, so we need to look at that really carefully and think which one makes the most sense, which one is reasonable. So that's what we're going to continue talking about today. Okay. So, this first, or our I can statement says, I can assess the reasonableness of the product of a decimal less than 1 and a whole number. So we're going to only have decimals that are less than 1 right now that we're working with. But as we continue to work, we are going to have larger decimals. But today it is going to be decimals less than 1. Okay, so let's look at our first problem. Rosalind's school is holding a math fun fair. One of the games is a sorting game with the numerical expressions shown. So we've got all of these expressions. Remember, an expression is just a number sentence without an equal sign. Like this, 8 times 45 hundredths. That's an expression. It's that number sentence, but it doesn't have an equal sign. Okay. So we have 8 times 45 hundredths, 8 times 6/10, 6 times 81 hundredths, 8 times 52 hundredths, 8 times 8/10, 4 times 99 hundredths, 8 times 49 hundredths, 4 times 9/10. Okay, and your job is to sort them. Okay, so again, we're talking about reasonableness. What is reasonable? What would make sense? So we have, are they greater than 4 or are they less than 4? All right, so again, we are using our estimating. We're thinking about what makes sense. Let's start right here. 8 times 45 hundredths. So in my mind, I think 45 hundredths is pretty close to 50. And if I think about it like money, remember I'm estimating. I think about it like money. If I have 50 cents 2 times, that would be $1. So if I have 50 cents 8 times, that's going to be $4. So we've got greater than 4, less than 4. I know it's going to be less than 4 because 45 is less than 50. You see what I mean? So I know that that answer is going to be less than 4. Because 50 would be $1, $2, $3, $4, but I have less than 50 every time. Okay? So I'm going to mark that one out so I know that I've already done it. Okay? Let's go down here. 8 times 8/10. All right, let me think now. 8/10. That's almost 1 whole. 8/10. If I think about it, I think about the picture. You know, we've almost filled in that whole thing when we've got that. So if I am close to one whole, if I do a whole 8 times, I'm going to be at 8. I know that my answer is going to be greater than 4 when I do that one. Now, one thing I will tell you, if you're not sure, work it out. So let's work that one out real fast. And we haven't really started doing this, but still, we know that is 64. 8 times 0 is 0, plus 6 is 6. My decimal, if I have 8 tenths 8 times, I know it's going to be right here. I know it's going to be more than 1. So, see, that is greater than 4. There's nothing wrong with checking to see, but we should be able to kind of quickly figure that out in our head. All right, let's look on at this one. 8 times 6 tenths. Now again, I'm going to look and I'm going to think about kind of like I did with this one right here. Well, if I had 5 tenths or 50 hundredths and I did it 8 times, I knew that that was going to be 4. Well, I've got more than that now. So that helps me to know that this is going to be greater than 4, right? Because we talked about if we had 5 tenths 8 times, that would equal exactly 4. So of course this is going to be bigger than 4. But again, work it out if you're not sure. All right, let's think about this one. 4 and 99 hundredths. We know 99 hundredths is almost a whole, so close to a whole, but it's not. If I had a whole, 4 times 1, I know that would be 4. But since this is less than 1, I know that this answer is going to be less than 4. Right? Because this is less than 1. 4 times 1 is 4. This is less than 1, so it's going to be less than 4. Okay? Let's keep looking. 6 times 81 hundredths. Okay, again, I'm going to think about it. I have got, if we say 8 tenths, I just want to round that to 8 tenths or 80 hundredths. Then, if I have that 6 times, well, I know 8 times 6 is 48. So I know that this is going to be greater than 4. Because I know just plain old 6 times 8 is 48. So that's going to give me 4 and 8 tenths, and this is going to give me even greater. All right, now we have 8 times 49 hundredths. Well, I can't help but look back here again. I had 8 times 45 hundredths. I knew that that was less because I know 5 tenths or 50 hundredths would be exactly 4. So again, this is going to be less because it's less than that. But I'm keeping on repeating myself, I know. Work it out if you're not sure. So we've got 8 times 9, 72. 4 is 32, plus 7 is 39. 8 times 0 is 8. Or, I'm sorry, 8 times 0 is 0, plus 3. My decimal only makes sense right there because I've got my 50 cents that many times. So you can see it is less than 4. All right, let's look at this one here. 8 times 52 hundredths. I'm keeping on referring to this one. I know that this is going to be greater than 4 because I know 8 times 5 is 40. So that's going to be exactly my $4. This is going to be more than my $4. And then 4 and 9 tenths. Okay, I think again, kind of back towards this one. And I know 4 times 9 is 36. That's not quite my 4. But I also know this is 9 tenths. This is not a whole. This is less than 1. 4 times 1 is 4. This is 4 times something less than 1, so it's going to be less than 4. All right? So let's turn to the next page. We'll do a couple of these. One of the prizes at the Math Fun Fair is erasers. The value of each eraser is 77 cents. There are 8 erasers on the prize table. Joni says the value of the 8 erasers is greater than $6. How is she able to make this claim? Is her claim reasonable? Okay. So first it says, did she give an exact value or an estimate for the 8? Well, she gave an estimate. She was just estimating. B says decimals and fractions both name fractional parts of a whole. It is often easier to calculate using fractions rather than decimals. Complete the number line to show the decimal equivalent of some of the common fractions. Okay, and this is something that's helpful to us in the long run. So we have 1 shown here on this number line. If I have one thing split into 4 parts, 1/4, 2/4, or 1/2, 3/4, 4/4. 1/2 is equivalent to 2/4. I have my one thing, it's split into 4 parts. So I like to think of this like money. So if I have $1 split into 4 parts, you probably know that those are quarters. So I've got 25 hundredths, or like a quarter. I've got 5 tenths, or you could say 50 hundredths. 3/4 be 75 cents, 75 hundredths. Okay, to which decimal number is 77 cents closest? Well, that is close to the decimal 75 hundredths if we're looking on our chart. What fraction is equivalent to 75 hundredths? That fraction would be 3/4. Use the fraction to find the value of the 8 erasers and show your work. Okay, so there are different ways you could do this, but you could say, okay, well, I've got about 3/4 and I've got 8 of them. So we have 3/4 8 times. So that means I'm doing 3/4, 3/4, 3/4, on and on and on and on and on. So that would give me 24/4. And remember, a fraction is a division problem. 24 divided by 4 equals 6. Now, just to show you that the long way, 3/4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24/4. And I'm not adding up these fourths, saying 4, 8, 12, 16, because that's what my fraction is. They're fourths. So I can't take them away because I'm saying how many fourths do I have. So we had 24/4. So that helped us to estimate, how does 77 hundredths compare to 75 hundredths? Well, 77 hundredths is greater than 75. So we need to think about, all right, it's a little bit greater. I used 75 to help me because it was easier, and I got $6. So it says, is her claim reasonable? Remember, she said the value of the 8 erasers is greater than 6. Well, we figured out that if it was 75, it would be exactly 6. So since it's 77, it will be greater. So yes, her claim is reasonable because 8 times my 75 hundredths is $6. So 77 hundredths times 8 would be more than $6. Okay? So that's what we're doing in this. We're kind of, you can always show your work, but we can also use some other strategies to help us think, is this reasonable? Okay? All right. So let's look on page 381, and we'll do a couple right here. Okay? So this at the bottom, this one says, determine whether this is true or false. 6 times 52 hundredths. Remember, this means less than. It's made with our left hand. I always say this. You can make an L with your left hand. That is less than. So this is saying that this product is less than 3. Okay, again, I'm going to round this to 50, pretend it's like 50 cents. If I have 50 cents 6 times, so I'm going to have 50, $1, $1.50, $2, $2.50, $3. Just plain old 50 hundredths, or 50 cents times 6 is going to be 3. So I know that this is false because I know my answer is going to be greater than 3 when I multiply those. You could absolutely work it out. And you get 6 times 2 is 12, 6 times 5 is 30, plus 1 is 31, 6 times 0 is 0, plus 3 is 3. And I get $3.12. So I prove it, but we are trying to use our skills to figure it out on our own. Okay, so keep on working there and trying to think about if your answers are reasonable. Your homework is page 145, your odd numbers.